Hey, it's your girl Paige, and you know I've got the good book tea. Do you ever wish Game of Thrones had more romance and less, unexpected beheadings? Well, grab your goblet of wine because Heirs and Spares Betwixt the Sheet edition by Jenny L. Spohr is serving up courtly drama, royal power plays, and enough spice to make a Tudor blush. I'll let you choose which Tudor. It's 1569, and Lady Annalore wants nothing to do with royal politics until the exiled prince turned king decides that she's the key to saving his kingdom and his heart. I mean, who could have expected that? Expect scheming nobles, forbidden desire, and a reluctant queen who won't just roll over unless she wants to. Perfect for history lovers who like their romance with high stakes, sharp banter, and just the right amount of scandalous. And if you prefer your historical romance with a little less heat between the sheets, there's a closed bed curtains version just for you. So, get your hands on Heirs and Spares Betwixt the Sheets edition out now, because royal duty has never been this delicious. Love ya!
Calling all dog owners. Your furry friend deserves top-notch nourishment, and Ollie delivers the clean, fresh nutrition your dog needs in 5 flavors they'll absolutely flip over. Ollie is made in U.S. kitchens with ingredients carefully sourced from trusted growers and producers around the world, with absolutely no harmful fillers or preservatives. With protein-first recipes like fresh beef with sweet potatoes, fresh turkey with blueberries, or fresh lamb with cranberries, you might start thinking, dang, my dog eats better than I do. And that's probably true when it comes to Ollie. Give your pup a fresh start this new year by letting them taste test a personalized meal plan with Ollie. Head to ollie.com/Wondery. Tell them all about your dog and use code WONDERY to get 60% off your first box of meals when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a clean bowl guarantee on the first box. So if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/Wondery and enter code WONDERY to get 60% off your first box. Start your dog's new year off right with Ollie. Start your dog's new year off right with Ollie.
You better not have no plans tonight.
Movie time and it's feeling right.
You're looking for a love that lasts. You'll find it at Romancing the Podcast. Ooh, ooh, baby, you had me at hello. Ooh, I love you.
I know.
Ooh, ooh, baby, you're the wind beneath my wings. Ooh, I'll have what she's having.
Thank you for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige Wessling.
And I'm Todd Schlosser. And this week, Paige, I guess it was you technically, made us watch
Date Night.
So, Paige, when was the first time you saw Date Night?
I saw this in theaters the weekend it came out.
Same.
And I did not like it back then.
Really?
But I loved it today. And I think aggressively that I was too young for it when I saw it the first time.
Oh, that's fair. I think that this movie hits on some themes that I think are aimed at the This Is 40 audience, if that makes sense.
Yes.
But I think it's a really funny and fun movie. I really enjoy it. So
oh yeah.
Even then when I saw it, because I saw it in theaters too.
But you were probably married already at the time.
I was.
And I was not.
Paige.
Yeah. So I think that makes a bit of a difference.
Spoiler alert, unhappily. So
I know.
that one didn't go well. So yeah, man, maybe this movie was the wake up call Todd needed to get out of that marriage. It wasn't this.
It was a lot of things.
It was definitely Lawrence of Arabia. I got confused on some things.
Oh,
no, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the movie that made me okay, I'm sick of thinking Tina Fey's not a hot lady. She's a comedic genius.
Yes.
And she's hot. She's funny. I can't not think she's hot in this movie.
Yeah.
Because she's just so fucking funny. The way she is just okay to be the butt of the joke.
Love it.
In just the most low stakes situation. The police photo they have of her at the realty office when she runs into the drawers. She is making the craziest face and she's just doing it for the bit. I love the way she commits to everything. And Steve Carell is the exact same way.
Yes.
Which is why I think they're and maybe not like romance chemistry, but their improving chemistry, I think, is amazing in this movie.
I still think the romance chemistry is amazing.
I think it holds. I think it is pretty good.
I think this is just different from what we would typically think of as a romance movie, because we always watch romance movies and it's the beginning of a relationship.
Right. I was going to bring this up. Yes.
Yeah. I actually think it's way more powerful that this is later in a relationship. And at the end of the movie, it's not so much that they make big, huge changes as much as they just kind of see each other from the other's perspective a little bit.
Yeah.
And learn to appreciate and love the things that they have.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like all of the arguments and frustration in this movie are very grounded in reality, even though there's a heightened, heist movie going on around it. But that's what makes the movie really work, is the conversations they're having that you're like, any couple on my street would have this conversation. And this is such a relatable frustration that people have. And I feel like when I was younger and saw this in the movie theater, I was just like, it seems like they're unhappy the whole time. And like, now I watch it and I'm like, it seems like they have frustrations and they work through them and come out stronger on the other side. And I love that for this movie.
Yeah, but you're right. When we saw this movie the first time, we weren't mature enough to understand that part of it.
Right.
And like, honestly, Paige, fully same. Even though I was married at the time, fully same.
Right.
But like, I really enjoyed watching this movie on my flight back from Palm Beach Airport this afternoon. It was great. It was way better than watching a horror movie, I'll tell you that, on a flight. Because horror movies can get crazy real fast, and then you're like having to apologize to the child next to you.
To the people next to you on the plane.
It's terrible. But this was fine. The one thing that I think I wasn't expecting was that when they were like looking for a group named Tripplehorn, I was like fully sure that like when they stumbled on what turns out to be Franco and Kunis, which I thought was hilarious.
Right.
I fully thought for a second we were going to get like a ska band.
Oh, that would have been incredible.
Because Tripplehorn sounds like a ska band name. I'm not wrong.
No, you're not wrong. You're 100% right. And honestly, if you have a ska band and you're trying to think of a name, consider Tripplehorn. Even if you've only got 2 horns, do Tripplehorn.
That would honestly be the most ska band thing to do.
It would be, and I'd love it. I know you're not a Severance person, but somebody put out like a funk jazz version of the theme song, and I have been rocking it all day long. It's my favorite thing in the world, but it's very ska coded. And it's just kind of like, and I was like, man, they should use this one for this like plodding, quiet piano theme song. But it's great.
Yeah.
Tripplehorn, get into it.
Yeah, Tripplehorn, guys. Check them out. There's only 2 of them. It doesn't make sense, but you're going to love them.
Why is there not a ska? There might be. If you know about a ska band called Horn If You're Honky, let me know. Because I feel like that'd be great.
I honestly thought Steve Carell's plan was genius. Like, I don't think you fully see the reveal of it all in the movie, but man, his plan, so great.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he clearly has watched all of the CSIs. The thing I love about this movie is they perfectly nail, like, just people who've been married for long enough to not know current things.
Yes.
And that is my favorite. Of like, every time Tina Fey makes a judgment call about whether someone is good or not, based on just something she sees in the environment, is my favorite thing in the world. Where she's like, they stabbed a chicken nugget with a Sharpie? These are not good people. Like, that's madness, and I love it.
Paige, what kind of good person stabs a chicken nugget with a Sharpie? That's a ridiculous statement. Tina Fey is never wrong about that kind of shit. Never go with the gentleman to a second location. That's another one of the best things I've ever heard Tina Fey write.
Every time she says one of these things, you're like, she's right.
Yeah.
But like, you can't explain why, and that is my favorite. But then similarly, everything Steve Carell or her does, like, they interact with the scenario the way normal people would. And by that, I mean people who watch NBC and are like, I think I saw this on Law & Order once and I hope it works.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's why they ended up at Central Park.
That's
at the very beginning. Like, yeah,
Central
that's
Park.
like, I don't know. That's where SVU starts. Yeah, that's where SVU starts because that's where they find the body, Steve Carell. Don't go to the woods at night, you idiot. Anyway, I thought it was very funny. Like, I love so much of this movie now, although I did like it then too. When I saw it initially. I thought it was great. I thought that and we've talked about this before, but in my mind, Steve Carell just hired the service we have pitched on this podcast where it's like the game, but to get your significant other to fall in love with you, or in this case, to get your wife to fall back in love with you or whatever. And it just sends them on this heist, adventure, crime scandal, drama thing that puts them in real life threatening situations and only bonds them closer together. I really loved it. I just wanted a scene at the end of the movie that was 3 weeks earlier, and it was him walking into the office, and he was what's your want to rekindle the love of my life package? What's that? And the guy behind the counter's like, oh, this date package has everything. Mistaken identity page, corrupt cops, that thing where you steal a dinner reservation and end up getting punched in the neck by a guy named Taste. It's got everything.
I mean, here's why I could never partake in a service like this.
I'll take that one. That's the one. Let's go with that one.
If I planned it, it would kill my husband in the process. He would have a heart attack or an aneurysm or something, and he'd be like, I'm just trying to keep you safe, and it would be bad. But if he planned one for me, I'm going to accidentally shoot an actor. That's how this is going to end. I'm going to go wild card and shoot somebody, and it's going to be a problem.
Paige, as we go through the movie scene by scene, I want to think about it again. I want to talk about it again, because I think anytime they're in danger, someone else is in that scene helping them out. The taxi driver, Marky Mark, who Tina Fey clearly, I don't know that there was an affair between Marky Mark and Tina Fey.
No, I think she just had a crush on him.
Paige, Tina Fey looks at Marky Mark like they boned it down while he was looking for a house, and that he ended things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they banged in every empty house that they saw.
Yes.
And then he ended things.
She's definitely admitting I risked it all for you and you ghosted me energy.
Well, it's either that or they banged in all the empty houses, and then they're like, we can't, but I'll always love you. And they break up, and then she just shows up on his doorstep and is just a history between them, but we can't talk about it now.
Oh, I know.
It's in the past.
I don't really think they had an affair, at least not in the movie, but she is looking at him. Although it's not helpful that not Mark Ruffalo, he's also in this movie.
There's not a non-famous person in this movie.
Which is great, right?
That's another thing I noticed, because even extras, even just people who are side characters who would normally just be Joe actor or whatever. Every single person you see and talk to and interact with in this movie is now a B to A list star.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Nick Kroll as the unnamed host?
Nick Kroll as the maitre d'?
Yeah, of the restaurant?
Well, and when he switches out, it's Olivia Munn.
Hang on, Paige. I got to stop you there.
Oh, God.
Thematically, she's literally the call to adventure as she's calling out for the Ska Band.
Yes.
And they're like...
Tripplehorn?
Oh my God, they're calling our jazzy line, babe. We gotta go. I'm sorry, I was not expecting you to go full on trumpet section, and that sent me.
It's for the Tripplehorns.
But yeah, Kristen Wiig's in it. She plays Mark Ruffalo's wife. And they are getting a divorce. They're in one scene in the whole movie, but they're both in the movie.
Mark Ruffalo has 3 lines. Yes. Bill Burr is in this movie and has 2 lines.
Bill Burr has more than 2 lines, and I love that he's in this movie. And I love that Henson's in this movie. Is it Taraji?
Taraji P. Henson, yes.
Yeah, I love that Taraji P. Henson's in this movie. She's great. Common's in this movie.
Common and his partner, a McPoyle.
I had him in my notes as McPoyle. I literally was like, yo, Common and McPoyle are doing the most out here.
I love that guy. I should learn his name as an actor. I feel terrible. But I love that guy because he's always weird or evil in everything. And I fucking love somebody that's yeah, I'll be your weird, creepy villain in everything you ever want to cast me in. Let's go.
I love him in It's Always Sunny, but he's great in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
He does look like a McPoyle because that's his face, guys. But he is acting a different character and doing a great job. I could totally see him doing other things.
Jimmy Simpson is his name. Jimmy Simpson.
Yes.
AKA Liam McPoyle.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, I'm going to say this, and it's not going to mean much to you, Paige, but in my opinion, he's the least creepy looking McPoyle.
Oh, I agree with you. Yes. Until he loses his eye from Pappy McPoyle's bird snatching it out of his skull.
I hate that I know exactly what you're talking about and exactly who Pappy McPoyle is.
Guillermo del Toro as Pappy
Yeah.
McPoyle. God, I fucking love Always Sunny. But then he gets the eye patch that looks like his own skin. So it looks like a fake, like an eye patch of his skin and eye. Yes.
Yeah, Paige, I saw Brooklyn Empire. I get it.
Yeah, it did look like Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah, Boardwalk Empire. Sorry, not Brooklyn Empire. That's the Jay-Z documentary to be named. Paige, can I just pitch you on what the name for Marky Mark's detective agency is?
Oh, hit me with it.
Magic Mike Cybercrime.
Is it just because he's shirtless?
Yes, the whole movie, Paige. He is shirtless the whole movie. The cop comes and is like, hey, do you mind throwing on a shirt and just answering a few questions? And he goes, no, which is how you know he's fucking rich.
Oh, yeah.
He told a cop no to their face and they were like, all right, that's fair. I guess he's clean, boys. Like, that guy's not clean. He's sleeping with like an Israeli he imported. And I'm not saying she's not into it, but like...
she's definitely a double agent for Mossad. Like 100%.
That's what I was thinking exactly, Paige. I was like, all right, she's gonna like Anya Onatopp kill this guy.
Murder him in his sleep.
Yes.
Yes, he's a target.
And listen, I love GoldenEye. There are definitely worse ways to go than that way. So like...
When you said, what would his detective thing be named? My first thought was Wall Searchers instead of Wahlberg.
Honestly, Paige, yeah, I didn't know you could beat Magic Mike Cybercrime, but you topped it.
There you go. It didn't have the same thrust as Magic Mike Cybercrime.
That's only because I yelled it, though. I think yours is,
That's fair,
I think yours
that's fair.
stands on its own, Paige, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Wall Searcher. It's him and his brother, and they're just like, hey, say hi to your mother for me. We found his mother. We're going to say hi.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and send her a card. I can't do an accent. You are. That's all I got, guys. That's all I can do.
You are. I fucking love Duncan, guy.
That's literally quoting that like SNL sketch commercial.
Yeah.
Is the only Boston accent I can do.
Cut your nails, for God's sake.
That's all, and it's just because I used to yell that at college at people. Like, it was like, maybe even later than that. I don't even know when that sketch happened, but it was like...
Oh, no, that sketch is... You were definitely out of college because I was out of college.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I just remember yelling it at people for like a summer.
Yep. Cut your nails, for God's sakes. That's such a good one. So fun.
It's great. Paige.
Yes.
This movie, I think, talks about something that I think it's about time we started addressing in America.
Okay.
And that is clearly when someone's just pointing a gun at you, they're not being serious. It's just for sillies, guys.
Just for silly.
But when they turn it sideways, that's when you're fucked.
Kill shots.
Yeah, that's when you're fucked. I thought that was so funny that like every time, and it's like just Tina Fey and Steve Carell. Like they're the only ones that like...
Because they've only seen it on TV.
Yeah, they went down like a Grand Theft Auto like YouTube algorithm and like now they're thinking that you only get killed if they turn it sideways. It was hilarious.
No, I'll tell you what it is. They watched all the Equalizer movies once they went to streaming, just like my parents did. And that's where they have that and Training Day, I would assume. But I do love that everyone else in the scene, the second a gun comes out, is like, oh shit, a gun. And they're like, huh? And then when they turn it sideways, they're like, oh no! Like, that's when they go to 11.
They do it multiple times.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so good.
But ultimately, I liked the movie. I do kind of feel like it's kind of like the Hangover for people who pay their property taxes and bring tote bags to Trader Joe's. It's like that. It's like that kind of thing. Or wait. No, Paige.
No, that was perfect.
It's Mr. and Mrs. Smith if they had gotten pregnant like right out of college. Like this is what would have happened to them on some level because they'd still have the skills.
Well, but they don't have the skills. That's what I love about this movie is they're only really able to do, except for the car chase, they're really only able to do the stuff that average people could do.
I agree.
And they only come up with plans that average people would think about.
I agree. That's why I think that there is definitely a scene missing where Steve Carell went and purchased the Dating the Game, I mean like the game, the movie.
Right.
Because like, I do think like the biggest moment that I am like, okay, normal people couldn't do this was the car chase scene.
The car chase, yeah.
And the taxi driver, I think.
JB Smoove.
Who is amazing, right? And I bet he's got some sweet leg titties.
Yes.
That's such a strange and specific reference. But if he was here, he'd be like,
yep.
Oh shit, I forgot I said that.
He'd get it.
But like, I think that he was the professional that they hired for that moment, right? And then he like made all that happen. They had a crisis actor Chrysler hit them in the perfect way so that Steve Carell went off into the water and he was fine. I think all of this is planned.
Yeah, with a conveniently placed ladder for him to get back up.
Exactly. Paige, how far would realistically he have had to swim to find a ladder to climb out?
Oh, yeah.
We're talking like a while.
Right. He hit it in exactly the right place. Yes.
Well,
yeah.
That's why she married him initially, Paige. But man, maybe we should just go through this movie scene by scene.
Let's do it. We open on an average morning in a household with 2 children. Hell.
Man, I don't have children, and so maybe I shouldn't say this, but this movie makes it look like having kids is terrible. And they never come back to that. They never like, oh, we love our kids. Like, the kids are in the movie to set up how bad the kids make their life, but like, we don't really ever see them come back and be like, I love my kids, let's hug my kids or anything.
Okay, but here's the thing. The kids are not what I would call extraordinarily bad. The kids are normal kids.
No, I know.
Like, those kids don't do anything that normal kids wouldn't do. And so I don't think there's a thing to reset it, because they will go back to their lives being kind of awful because of those kids.
I guess. I mean, that's why I was like, maybe I shouldn't say it this way, but I don't know what it's like to have kids. I really don't. So like, please don't say this is like me judging you. I mean, you don't have kids either, Paige, so you don't know. But like, this movie does make it look terrible.
No, but like, I was a nanny for kids younger than that and about that age for a long time. And that is exactly what it's fucking like.
No, I mean, I've taken care of like cousins and nieces and nephews and stuff, and it is like that. 100%.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like they're doing anything crazy. Like, their alarm goes off and the kids come in and they like sort of like, hey, can you like feed us? And like,
right.
It's not like they come in with a gun and shoot a hole in the wall or anything. Like, it's just normal. We got to get our kids to school stuff.
Yeah.
It just makes it seem like it makes their life so terrible.
Well, and here's the thing. I know that kids grow out of it, and the stages of having kids are different and change over time.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But this phase, when they are too young to really care for themselves, but old enough that they are mobile, it is a challenge. It is a dangerous time.
Yeah.
I don't think this movie portrays anything that is not pretty based in reality from my experience with children, and has informed some of my choices not to have them. But like, and you'll notice the alarm doesn't go off. The kids beat the alarm. That has also been my experience when sleeping around children. But here's the thing. That is their life.
Yeah.
That is why their life is busy. That is why they have maybe not had the chance to value their relationship in the way that they used to when they weren't as busy. And I feel like the movie is actually doing a service by not portraying a way in which they're like, oh, we actually love their kid. No, they have to go back to that life. That life is still going to be hard. They just have to be mindful of, even when it is hard, this person next to me is my person.
Yeah.
Ride or die. And we will get through the rough days and the boring days and the whatever.
Yeah, and I agree. And the movie's not about like them falling in love with their kids. It's them falling back in love with each other. And I like that.
I appreciate that, because so many movies try to shortcut it with the kids.
Yeah.
No, this is about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't really care. I still like the movie either way. I just like, because they set this up as it's like a terrible thing that's been like foisted upon them. Like, I could have standed to see a scene where they like hugged their kids at the end, but I actually kind of like the way it ends with them like fucking on their front lawn at 6:45 a.m.
Yeah, good for them.
We know you can see, John.
I don't consider the kids foisted upon them. I think they chose it, but it's just,
they totally did choose it. I'm just saying, like, that's the way they're like making it seem like in the movie as how terrible it is.
I didn't read it that way. I read it as, yes, I know we chose this. Yes, I know we chose each other, and that's why it's so important later in the movie when he says, I choose you.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's hard. I know it's tough. I still choose you.
Yeah, man. God, I cried. I cried on the plane, and it was like two dudes who were like, I was in the window seat because like I fly a lot, so like I get rewards and stuff. I was in a window seat. And then like, there was like a guy next to me who was a little bit taller than me, a little bit wider than me, and a guy next to him who looked like, I don't know, the manliest granddad you've ever seen in your life.
Nice.
And I'm watching Date Night and crying next to these two burly men at the end of this movie. So like, just know that going in. But yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think you're wrong, but I want the, I still liked the movie. I guess I don't really care all that much, but like normally you would see that in these kind of movies.
You would, and I think it's a failure of scripts a lot of the time. this is something I criticize every Hallmark movie, is where they're like, oh, their relationship with the kids shorthands for their relationship together. No, you have a separate relationship with your partner outside of the relationship with your kids. Obviously, your relationship with a family is important, but I think that's one of the things that the movie needs them to remember, is that they still have a relationship with each other to invest in and care about outside of each other as parents.
I mean, yeah, I do think that's sort of like what the movie is saying on some level. Like you have to not just focus on your kids, which I do think the first scene does a great job of setting up their dynamic as a couple.
Right.
Like they're both like loving people. They care about each other a great deal, and they love their kids.
Well, and they both work. I love that he is not dismissive. He is also an active parent.
Yeah.
They're both working together, and they're actually good at teamwork. The only thing that is kind of a pain in the ass is him constantly leaving drawers open, which would drive me fucking insane.
Paige, if she doesn't want to get in his drawers, he's going to make those drawers be in her way. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's like everyone has a thing like that, though. I'm sure here's the thing.
Paige, I have ADHD. If you think I have ever closed a cupboard in my life,
I know.
I'm sure Natalie hates it. Like, I'm sure.
I'm pretty good at closing cupboards, but I'm terrible at replacing toilet paper, even if there's toilet paper rolls there. And this is something that I know about me. And Jake's thing is that he puts things away and then doesn't remember where he put them away. And that messes with my ADHD. Everyone has a thing. Mine's the toilet paper. His is the put things away. And you have to, you accommodate for it.
Yeah.
In the world. You learn to live with it.
You find someone who fills in your gaps or whatever, right? So Jake can change the toilet paper and you can find the shit he puts away.
Yeah, but while also trying to get better about it, because you're like, I should be more mindful of this. And, everyone's got a thing. Some people load dishwashers like they're, putting just, giant. People are bad at loading dishwashers sometimes, man.
And saying sentences sometimes, man.
I thought of too many scenarios of bad dishwasher loading where I was like,
it was the cacophony of confusion right there.
Giant bowl at the top, silverware everywhere, just loose knives.
You can't have loosey knives in the dishwasher, guys.
You can't. Well, here's why. And these are Paige's kitchen tips. If a knife punctures the lining of your dishwasher, it's not covered by insurance and it will flood your kitchen. So make sure, the best bet is to never dishwash your knives because it's also bad for your knives. But B, if you choose to ignore my warnings about dishwashing your knives, make sure they're secured in the dishwasher.
Okay.
Anyway, so all this to say, everybody's got a thing. His thing is drawers. Her thing is assuming that he won't do something she asks him to do.
Correctly. Up to her standards, maybe.
Up to her standards, yes.
And I really do love that, you were kind of saying this. He is an active parent, too. It's not the standard, old school, she's a stay-at-home mom and he's an inattentive parent and, spouse. He actually wants to help. He even, their fight in the car is largely about that. He's like, hey, you assume I'm not going to be able to do it, but I want to do it. Tell me what you want me to do, and I want to do it. I want to help. I love that for him.
There's actually a clear distinction because it's not tell me what you want me to do. He knows, because tell me is extra emotional labor. Now I have to be your boss.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
To tell you what to do, right?
Yeah.
Right? And what he's saying is not that, which I actually appreciate even more.
It's trust me to do it.
It's trust me to do it. It's I know what needs to be done. I can help. But before I get the chance to do it, you have already done it. And the perfect example of that is at dinner when she's like, hey, we need a birthday present for this party. It can't be this. Never mind. I'll just do it.
Yes. Yeah. It can't be from China. It can't have batteries. I'll just do it. Yeah.
I believe if she had finished that list, he would have been like, okay. And he would have done it.
I mean, yeah. But she never gives him the opportunity, I guess, is the way the movie positions it, which I thought it was a cool take on a romantic male lead at this stage in life.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think it is actually very fair to both of them in that it does not paint either of them as incompetent or disinterested.
Right.
But rather just a challenge of communication between the two of them. And a lack of reliance on each other.
Yeah.
But not because of an incompetence on either of their part. And I think that actually makes the movie a lot stronger when you look at the relationship between them. And I think a huge part of this is because it was probably written by older married people.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. But I do like that the movie doesn't really have like a thing that breaks our romantic couple apart. They're always in it together, which is also somewhat unique in this kind of movie, right?
Yeah.
Like they're never not on each other's team, which is awesome. And it's just them like rekindling the spark, I guess, in their relationship and like realizing why they fell in love with each other and like that, oh shit, like I actually do like also passionately love this person that I also love, you know?
Right.
And it's them sort of relearning that, which I like because they're never apart and they never fight necessarily.
I love in the one scene that we'll get to eventually where they have that harder relationship conversation about where they're both coming from.
Yeah.
That it ends with like, have you ever thought about leaving me for someone else? It's like, no, I have maybe thought about being alone to eat a sandwich, which is also something that Liz Lemon always wants to do.
Yes, I thought that was very funny.
When she was just like, sit alone and eat my lunch and drink a Diet Sprite, I was like, oh, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I've seen 30 Rock, Tina. I know what you're doing.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That sounds great. But it is never like, yeah, of course I've thought about leaving you. It's like, no. I am overwhelmed, but never have I thought about removing myself from the relationship as a means to solve being overwhelmed, which I think is a key difference.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why, unlike the couple we're about to meet, who is Mark Ruffalo and Kristen Wiig, who are divorcing.
Yeah, in a few scenes, yeah.
Yeah, I think that like Steve and Tina really love each other. Like they are not looking to like get out of the relationship, and they just need to like find why they wanted to be in it to begin with. And I think they do.
I feel like love is the wrong word. And I think this comes down to a personal philosophy thing with me where I feel like people use love to mean that initial infatuation or whatever. And they talk about it as falling in and out of love. And I don't think that's a really accurate descriptor of what long-term relationships like that are like. Because it's ultimately, I am choosing to be in this partnership with you. And there are times when you will drive me crazy.
Yeah.
Or times when I don't feel like it. Or times when I don't, like, your relationship will go through so many different stages. And I feel like it's so easy, and not to say that people, you know, some people shouldn't be together, and that is just the way it is.
Yeah.
And sometimes the language they use for that is fell out of love. But like, I feel like sometimes people are like, well, love this and love that. And it's like, love is a choice, not a feeling in a lot of cases. I mean, love can be many, many things, but like, I feel like the idea of, we just have to rekindle what we found when we met. No, because the people you were when you met is completely different than what you are now. What you need to find out now is how you work best together now and how you can appreciate who you are now to move forward. And I think the movie does a great job of that, of like showing them like, hey, yeah, you may not be the people you were when you met, but you're people who have each other's back right now.
Yeah.
And that's the important part.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get kind of a montage of like, they're getting the kids ready for school. She's showing a house. He's an accountant with John Bernthal and Ari Grainer as his accountants.
Yeah.
Again, even the like bit parts with one-liner famous people, it's nuts.
But like, this is 2010. Like, how famous was...
They weren't. That's the best part. A lot of these people are just like bit parts. Ari Grainer had been in a couple things, and I want to say had been on 30 Rock or maybe it was 30 Rock at some point for like a bit part, was definitely in a movie that we have not done that came out around this time called Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, which I would eventually love to do, but was not crazy famous at this time. I do love that because this is 2010, in the very next scene after we see John Bernthal and Ari Grainer, she's showing a house that originally was $1.8 million and now is $320,000.
Yeah.
And people are like, I think it'll go down further. And she was like, yeah, sure, wait it out.
Yeah, best to wait it out.
Like,
But this is 2 years into the financial crisis, right? Because it's technically started in 2008, but like really picked up in 2009.
Yeah.
So like, I thought this was like, for the time, very funny.
Yes. But we cut to the end of the night. Tina Fey is still working on the couch. He gets home. They're exhausted.
Yeah.
Their day has been... Kids or not, they're exhausted. And also there's kids. And the sitter, Leighton Meester, comes over and is like, hey, it's date night. You guys need me to sit, right? Which, by the way, side convo, do you think this babysitter just shows up every once in a while banking on them forgetting about date night to make sure she gets paid?
Paige, I'm so glad you brought this up. I think that this babysitter is a full-on sociopath, and I think I have a pretty convincing case, and this is part of it. I think whenever she needs $150,
Yep.
she walks over to their house and is like, hey, it's date night, right? You guys still need me to babysit? Knowing that Steve Carell won't know.
Yeah.
And they'll just like, oh, wait, wasn't it date night? And Tina will have forgotten too and be like, yeah, I guess it is. Let's do it. It's great. Great.
Yay. Yeah.
But also she fully on extorts them when they're like about to get murdered. And she's like,
love it.
yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough money for me to stay and watch your kids while you're in this time of crisis.
Get your bag, girl.
Honestly, and I love that for her.
This is low key about 3.5 years after I paid for my first Apple computer with my babysitting earnings.
Them baby bucks.
I'd like to thank all of you. I wrote my first screenplay on that computer. Anyway, so they're like, oh my God, date night. Yes, let's go out. And they go out to a steakhouse. And I do love that this is not a bad date.
No.
This is just normal. They've done it a bunch of times. I love that they people watch together.
Yeah.
And like pretend to be the people. And they have a good time. I think the movie at no point ever paints this as them not liking each other or truly being unhappy, as much as it's just like we're overwhelmed and we have fallen into patterns.
Yeah.
And we just need something to break that pattern and remember why we love each other and that we love each other and to establish new ways to love each other moving forward.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we cut to, they go home, they set the coffee for tomorrow. We see a commercial with DA Frank Crenshaw with a broom, which is kind of bonkers and hilarious.
Which you know when you see him on screen, because if you don't know his name, which I didn't know his name, but like you know his face. Like that guy, he's definitely like, oh shit, it's that guy. Like when you see him, you're like,
right.
Okay, we're going to see that character later. And when you do, it's amazing.
Yep.
Because what you realize is the broom he's holding is a prop that he uses in the club they have to get into. Paige, we'll get to it.
When we reveal that he has it with him later, I died. It was great. But they head up to bed and they immediately kind of get ready for bed and are not going to have sex. And they're like, oh, wait, should we? If you're in, I'm willing. I'm just. No, you know what? Let's just go to bed.
I thought that shit was so funny, man. It like really made me laugh because like Tina Fey comes in with like her mouth guard or whatever. I know, and when she pulls it out because he's like, "Oh, I guess we're not," and she's like, "Oh no, I can't," and she pulls it out and the spit goes everywhere. Like,
oh, so much spit.
That's what I mean about her. Like, she's just fully okay to look ridiculous and just lean into it, and it's so funny to me.
Well, and like, hey, if you've been together for any point of time,
oh yeah,
this conversation will happen where you're just like, I'm fucking tired.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I'm so sorry. Like, I'm exhausted.
Fully. Yeah.
But we cut to their book club the next day, which Steve Carell is attending and we will find out, has read the book. The fake book that they are reading in the movie reminded me so much of a book that got wildly popular when I was in high school called The Red Tent.
Okay.
Which would have only been a few years before this, maybe 4 or 5 years before this. But it was about, a whole bunch of things. But a key story point was a woman menstruating for the first time and how that impacted her relationship with the men around her. And it's like a whole thing. And so when they're going through the movie, went through the book and the movie, I was like, I have lived this. And this is why this is not the kind of book club I'm in. As much as I love that book, but like, I feel like these are the kind of book clubs that I know a ton of women in that they always want me to join. And I'm like, I don't want to read those. I just want to read the ones like I'm reading now, where it's basically just a lady and a dude banging it out a lot. And at this point, I'm convinced that he's either an assassin or, hear me out, ghost.
So can I tell you, Paige, a little funny story that may get cut out because I'm not sure if Natalie's okay with it.
Okay.
But babe, if you're okay with it, leave it in. So we went to Under the Cover in Kansas City.
Yes.
And Natalie spent like $200 worth of stuff. She loves like local bookstores and like she's been wanting to buy a few books in a series. So she just bought the first few books of that there and a t-shirt and a bag. So she gets home, she throws out the t-shirt. She looks at it, she's like, "Oh, the front looks great. Love this." Turns it around. Didn't realize on the back there's a message that says, "Read to come." Oh, wait, no, Paige. It's come to read to come.
Come to read to come.
Paige. This shirt that is so soft and she looks so good in, I'll be honest. Like, she can't wear in public or around her family or anything.
Let me tell you something I did not even think to look at the back of the sweatshirt. I don't think there's anything on the back of the sweatshirt I bought, but I did wear it through an airport. So if there was, oopsie daisies.
Yeah.
That's hysterical.
But babe, if you're okay with that story being out there, feel free to just like leave that in or whatever.
That's so good. I love it so much. That was also, I mean, case in point for the kind of books I read is that I recommended a book to like 3 or 4 people that were there at Under the Cover. And then in the car on the way back from Under the Cover, I told y'all what happened in the book because I knew you guys weren't going to read it. And you were like, what the fuck? Like, what are you reading?
Yeah. I often wonder what you're reading.
You know what? Here's the thing. There's a part I don't have time. I get to read in small snatches of time in airports.
You had to say snatch?
Yeah. Small gashes of time in airports. And like, there's a part of me that's like, maybe I should just start, cataloging what I'm reading because people ask me all the time.
Paige, if you're going to pitch me where you become the Oprah's book club of smut, yes, I'm on board.
Oh,
I'm happy to help. It's not how I like to read, but like, I get it. It's profitable.
It is how I like to read. And it's one of those things where like, if I had more time, I would have a like Paige's smut of the month book club. I just don't have time. But I am thinking of just like listing out a bunch of stuff that I've read if people are curious.
Do they have a Goodreads for smut books?
Well, I think it's just regular Goodreads. But people always want me to be on Letterboxd. I'm like, bro, you listen to my reviews every week.
Yeah, when people are like, you should sign up for Letterboxd, I'm like, I am a letter. Like, go to the RSS feed anywhere it's available. That's my Letterboxd.
What else do you want me to say other than the hour and a half?
If you think I have time to watch other movies, you're insane. I literally can only watch 2 movies a week. That's all I have time for.
Because I don't think this will take us too long to get through, I will give us a brief 2-minute interlude or whatever of we did watch a movie that we couldn't do for the podcast because it's not technically out yet.
We are gonna do an episode on that.
100%.
That's Horror Virgin though, Paige. Yeah.
It is Horror Virgin, but just by the time this comes out, it will be out in theaters.
Yeah, go see Freaky Tales.
Go fucking see Freaky Tales, man. Go see Freaky Tales.
It's so good. And guys, if you don't like scary movies, I don't like them either. It's not scary. It just has like, I'll say, maybe demonic or like, I don't know, it's a green, whatever. I don't want to get into it.
I'm not even going to call it demonic because it kills a bunch of Nazis. Maybe angels?
I don't think it does kill, Paige, we can't talk about it.
I think it gives people the power to kill Nazis.
Exactly. I think it gives people the power to do whatever they need to do in the moment because they know how to, we can't get into it. You just go see the movie, guys.
It's too good. It's so good. Go see Freaky Tales. Do you like Too Short? I don't care. Go see it anyway. It was so fun. I came home and I was like, I got to take Jake. Oh, fuck, it's not out yet. I was like, damn it. Eventually, when it comes out, I will take Jake.
I'm going to go see it again when it's in theaters here.
Hundo.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Paige, are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that are making eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. You can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, and grab-and-go snacks. And honestly, there's a lot of more add-ons too. That are great. You should check them out. They're pretty great. They have like 40 options across I think it's 8 dietary preferences. Don't fact check me on that. It's something like that though. But you can check on their menu each week. It's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals because you can choose from things like Calorie Smart or Keto, or I think they have a Protein Plus one too. And the best thing is Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, which is perfect for any active, super busy lifestyle, which is why it's so great for me. So eat smart with Factor by getting started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's like half off your first box and free shipping, guys. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping off your first box. Do it. You ever watch rom-coms and think, wait a minute, this guy's actually a full-blown villain? Take Love Actually. We've seen the scene where Andrew Lincoln shows up at Keira Knightley's door with cue cards professing his love, even though she literally married his best friend yesterday. But Let's rewind a bit. How did he get all that secretly recorded footage of her face? Was that a wedding highlight reel or a surveillance operation? If Keira Knightley had NordVPN, she could have protected her online privacy, avoided unwanted cyberstalking, and maybe even put a little password protection on her wedding footage. Because seriously, how did he even get that? Oh wait, he was the videographer. That's what it is. Either way, that's why NordVPN is the real MVP of the modern romance. Here's the deal. NordVPN encrypts your internet connection so no one, not hackers, not your internet provider, and definitely not your husband's weirdly intense friend can snoop on what you're doing online. And with 7,100 plus servers in 118 countries, you can change your virtual location with a single click, which means yes, you can finally watch that obscure rom-com movie that only seems to be available on like BritBox or whatever. And here's where it gets even better. One NordVPN account protects up to 10 devices. So whether you're scrolling through dating app horror stories, streaming rom-coms, or panic searching, what are the legal consequences of confessing your love via cue cards to a married woman? NordVPN's got you covered. So do yourself a favor. Go to nordvpn.com/romancingthepod and use the promo code romancingthepod, all one word, for an exclusive deal. That's nordvpn.com/romancingthepod to protect your data, to unlock your content, and stay safe from creepy dudes with signs on the street.
Anyway, so book club. And I do love that they then kind of split off because he makes a comment about the story where one of the women in book club is just like, you know, it really spoke to me. And he's like, yeah, it's really sad. And she's like, sad? You have no idea. And he's like, neither do you.
Right?
Like you have never experienced the things in this book. And he eventually leaves with Mark Ruffalo. And Tina Fey just goes, are you on your period right now? And she just goes, yeah. And I'm like, been there, lady. Been there.
She was closer than Steve Carell was to experiencing that, but like still,
sure.
You know what, like a few thousand miles away, like literally.
Oh, here's the thing. They're both right.
Yeah, kind of.
In their own way.
Yeah.
Like, he is right that she has never experienced what is detailed in the book. And she is also right that he has no idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes off with Mark Ruffalo, and this is where he finds out from Mark Ruffalo that he and Kristen Wiig are getting divorced. And he's like, we're not happy, and, you know, we just found ourselves doing the same thing, and, you know, we didn't like it, and, you know, we're not telling the kids yet, but whatever. And he does say, and this part is tricky because I feel like on one hand it seems like a very callous and even racist joke.
The long dick dog.
Long Duck Dong from 16 Candles, which we have not done yet. Until you realize the Long Duck Dong, aka Gere Watanabe, who's the name of the actor, has definitely played doctors so many times.
Yeah.
All the time. So it's almost one of those things where it's like, it's almost too layered of a joke because like initially you're like, oh, that's kind of right. And then you're like, wait a second. No, that dude does play doctors all the time. This is a joke about you thinking that he would never, even though he does.
Yeah. That's the way Tina Fey do it sometimes. Although I don't even think she wrote this movie, but like whoever did wrote it that way. But like Mark Ruffalo keeps calling him Long Dick Dog. Long Dick Dong,
which is not the name. Yeah.
No, it's long. I think he's saying Long Dick Dog. Like I think he's way off. Like he's getting almost every word wrong.
Yeah, way off. It is because Long Duck Dong is the name of the character, and admittedly, in 16 Candles, racist as hell.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
But I do think the joke is a little bit more layered and almost maybe too layered. But I'm just trying to see who wrote this. Josh Klausner wrote this.
Yeah, it was written by Josh Klausner.
I'm going to see what else they wrote.
He wrote Shrek Forever After, guys.
Oh, no. And Shrek's Yule Log. Interesting. Yeah, not much, but oh well. I know, I mean, based on some of the improv stuff we see at the very end, I'm sure some of this got punched up as it went along. But anyway, we cut to Kristen Wiig, who's like, I want to go out dancing every night and bang like 3 dudes at a time. And it's like, wow. You are ambitious.
I thought that was really funny because like Mark Ruffalo was talking about, hey man, we're just like roommates or whatever. We're just like good friends. Like that's the only reason we're breaking up. There's nothing else. And Kristen Wiig's like, I want to go fuck 3 dudes at once. Like it's just like such a change from what he's saying. And it made me laugh.
Well, and they're not communicating. They're not on the same page. But I also love that she's like, yeah, 3 dudes at a time. And Tina Fey's like, that's my recurring stress stream.
Yeah.
Of like, oh no. But she was like, yeah, it was always the same 2 times a week. And she was like, that rare. Oh, yikes. Only 2.
I know. And after seeing the scene with them like being so awkward about it and then just not having sex.
Right.
Like it's very funny because it's very coded in like that. It hasn't happened in a while.
Which, hey,
yeah,
people go through phases. Sometimes people get exhausted or overwhelmed or sick or whatever. And it's fine. Every couple has their own relationship to it, but you got to communicate with each other about it. Anyway, she's like, you're just like the girl in the book. You're ashamed of how vibrant you are. Walk among the birds, which is a nonsense phrase.
I loved it, though.
That I love.
It was so
I
funny.
love it so much.
Yeah.
But they go home, and the next night she dresses up because it's date night.
I actually kind of like this. Like she does, you would say like get dolled up or whatever. She's like putting intention into what she's wearing is what I mean.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
She's like really like trying to look her best or whatever. And Steve Carell comes home, and as she's coming down the steps, and because he's like an autopilot doing what he always does when he comes home.
Yeah.
Which is like checking with his kids, and like I think the babysitter's even there helping,
Uh-huh.
So like he's like checking in with them, which I don't think makes him a bad person. He just didn't notice Tina Fey.
No.
And then when he turns around and sees her, he's like, wow.
Yeah.
Like you look amazing. Like I really love that he isn't like an aloof, inattentive husband. He just like missed her coming to the stairs because he was checking in with the kids. But when he sees her, he like, oh man, I can see the effort you put in. And she's like, it's stupid, I'll change. And he's like, no, I'll go up, I'll shower, I'll change. And let's like, I think he like sees her putting in the effort and feels like, I need to do something right now to also show that I want to put in the effort, right?
Right.
And so he like, I don't want to do just a regular date night. Let's go to the city and, have dinner at Claw, which was, I think, one of the funniest names for a seafood restaurant ever.
It was, but I also could totally see a restaurant being named Claw.
Of course.
I did love that he does this whole thing. He's like, we can get to the city early enough, we can get a table. They cannot. That's not going to happen. But they get there and Nick Kroll is the maitre d'.
So funny.
And he's like, no, there's no tables. Like, what's wrong with you? He's like, wait at the bar. We'll see if something opens up. They can't even get service at the bar. No one's even paying attention to them. But who should come through but the hostess, Olivia Munn, calling for the Tripplehorns once, twice, 3 times, no answer. And so they are like, we're the Tripplehorns. Or rather, Steve Carell is, and then Tina Fey has to go along with it.
Yeah.
And they do toast empty glasses, which is bad luck. Don't do it. But they're eating their food. They're having a great time. It's very exciting. Her risotto sounds phenomenal. And I'm not even a risotto person, but it sounded really good.
Risotto's great. I love that they go back to playing the game they played the night before, or I should say the date before, because it's probably been a few days since that night. But they play the what's their story game, and they look at like the, I'll say, very age disparate couple that's over, to their left or whatever.
Sure.
And they're like making up a story about what's going on. It's kind of dark, and they sort of like go around, and I like that they see Will.i.am, and like the way they handle that whole situation was very funny to me, because like I think in a very, I wouldn't do this, but in a very like, I would say trying to be inconspicuous and not trying to like make it Will.i.am's problem that you want to get a picture with him.
Yes.
Way.
Yes.
I don't think you should do this, but I thought it was like kind of a kind way to get a picture with a celebrity.
It was really funny.
Because it doesn't require them noticing, right?
Right.
But like she does pose like she's in the conversation, even though she's fully at another table.
Yes.
Like you can see she's at another table in the picture, but she's like so hardcore leaning over for like the 2 seconds they took the photo. It's so funny.
It's great.
But she then sits down and like they kind of are having some like sweet conversation, and then that's when the 2 cops roll up on them.
Right.
Common and McPoyle. Although we don't know they're cops yet.
No, we just think they're thugs. And at first they think that they have realized that they stole somebody's reservation, and that's why they're getting them up from the table.
Yeah, they're like security or whatever. Like that's not who would come over and kick you out. I mean, you might get kicked out or whatever, but that's not what would happen.
They go out to the alley where they basically are First of all, I do think it's funny that Tina Fey carries the risotto out to the alley.
Yes.
It did sound that good.
It's a real like Liz Lemon energy right there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is basically if Liz Lemon found a loving relationship and then kind of like at the end of 30 Rock, and then years later is her kids have grown up a little bit and this is what is happening. But they're like, hey, we think you stole from our boss. We need the flash drive. And they're like, what are you talking? Like, we're not the Tripplehorns. And they're like, no one's the Tripplehorns.
Yeah.
It's a fake name. It's the name of a ska band.
It is.
Their second album's really good. You should trust us on this. But they then bring out guns. And this is the first time we get the like, he turned it sideways, kill shot.
Yes.
But thinking on their feet, Steve Carell is like, we have the flash drive. We hid it in Central Park at the boathouse. And they basically go on like a little field trip.
At night with two, at this point, we only know gunmen.
Right.
Who like are taking them to a secluded boathouse in the most secluded part of New York City. And that's Steve Carell's fault. I was like, man, Steve Carell's just hell-bent on getting his wife and him killed tonight.
Yeah. Well, and she's trying to come up with, she's like, we'll tell them your medication's in the car. And it's like, girl, no. Like, these are mobsters. They don't care.
I really thought it was funny that she was like, we could tell him it's a intravenous penis drug or whatever. Like,
Right.
he has to get to the hospital because his dick doesn't. And he's like, no, my dick is fine. Like, it's that whole conversation is, I think, probably 80% improv and very funny.
Anyway, they get to the boathouse and they're like, it's in the corner. And they're trying to like get the better of these two guys. They pry up one of the floorboards. And while they're bending down trying to pry it up, Steve Carell gets a beam. He hits one, then the other. A boat comes crashing down. It gives him enough time to get out the front door and into one of the boats, start the motor. But it doesn't go very fast.
It's actually an oar. It's not a beam. It's like one of the oars because they're in the boathouse.
Yeah.
So it's like a paddle, right?
Right.
And the reason I bring that up is because they do run and get in the boat and then they start the boat very dramatically and it sounds like it's the most powerful engine in the world. And then it cuts to a wide shot and it's so slow. The boat is moving so slow away from the dock page. It made me laugh. I thought it was so funny because of course, like in a second, Common and McPoyle are going to come out with their guns blazing. And they do.
Right.
And the reason I brought up the paddle is because you see Tina Fey, because they, of course, lay down in the boat. And she, like, as she's laying down, is, like, trying to slap the water so they go faster. And I was like, that's such a stupid, funny bit. Like, that's so dumb. I love it.
But they eventually make it across the pond.
Yes.
Get out, get to street level where Steve Carell immediately throws up a bunch.
I love that she's like, oh my God, are you bleeding? And he's like, no, it's the cab. It's the cab.
It's the Cabernet.
Yeah.
Ugh. But they make it to the police station because that's the kind of people they are. It's just like the police will solve it.
Well, and they should. They were just abducted from a like restaurant, taken to like a boathouse where they almost got killed. I'd go to the police station too.
Right. So they go to the police. But as they're talking to Taraji P. Henson to try and tell their story, they see the two guys who abducted them because they're what?
Cops. Yeah.
Dirty cops.
I do love that this movie has good cops and bad cops.
Yeah.
And Common and McPoyle are bad cops.
Yep.
And Taraji P. Henson and
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
Good cops.
Famous actor Bill Burr are the good cops.
But they take off. And I do love that Taraji P. Henson is suspicious of Common and McPoyle from Jump Street almost immediately. Like she already knows they're on the take and she just needed to prove it.
Yeah.
But they run out of the police station and they're like, we can't go home. They have our IDs. They know where we live. So they call the babysitter and she does extort them a little bit, but she gets the kids out of the house.
Yes.
And to her house.
Yes.
So now we know the kids are safe.
Yeah, like
Great.
Because the bad cops have their IDs, right? They know where the kids are, right?
Right.
And so they have the babysitter take the kids out. So even if they did find their house, which they never actually do go to the house, but even if they had, the kids wouldn't be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, meanwhile, they're like, what? Okay, we can't trust the police because there's bad cops. We got to get to a crowded place because they're chasing us.
Yeah.
And they know where we live. So what do we do? Well, our best bet is to find the thing they're looking for so that we can get them off our back and onto the back of the people who actually stole it. And the only way to know that is to go back to the restaurant to check and find out the phone number or the name of the people who are the actual Tripplehorns.
I thought it was funny that, like, to get any kind of justice, Steve Carell and Tina Fey have to do the cop's job
right.
and find this USB hard drive or whatever.
Which I do love that the cops are literally only 1 or 2 steps behind them because Taraji P. Henson and Bill Burr are solving the case behind them. And that's how they tend to meet up with them a couple times.
It is like a multiple cat and mouse kind of game because Tina Fey and Steve Carell are sort of on the forefront of it because they're sort of mixed up in it. Common and McPoyle are like trying to get Tina Fey and Steve Carell, and then Taraji P. Henson and Bill Burr are trying to arrest whoever's responsible for what's going on, and they eventually find out who it is, right?
Right.
I like that aspect of this movie. I love it.
Yes. So they get the name, And Tina Fey is like, I think I know somebody who could look up this number and get us an address. But in order to do that, I got to break into this real estate office to get the information for the guy, because it was a client, but he ended up going with these other people because he bought a house here.
Right.
They break it, and she like breaks through the glass. The alarm goes off. They get in and get the info, but of course, Steve Carell didn't close any drawers. She runs into them. It's a fun ongoing gag.
Yeah.
But we find out that it is Holbrook Grant, and we have the name and the address. They go to his house, or rather, they leave there to go to his house. We cut to an Italian restaurant where Ray Liotta, Joe Miletto, I believe.
I believe that's his name, yeah.
Yeah. Taraji P. Henson's like, I know you're involved in this somehow. And I know that you're after this couple, and I want to know why and what's going on. And he's like, I don't fucking know. Why don't you leave? And she's like, I'll be back. And then he immediately calls and is like, is there something? What's going on? What's happening?
Yeah, like I pay you guys for protection more or less, and I'm not feeling the protection right now. What's going on?
Right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they get to Marky Mark's house, and she's like, I'm so sorry. It's an emergency. Come on up. They come up and talk to him about what's going on. And he's like, okay, I will help you. In the midst of it, we see that Tina Fey has a massive crush on this dude because he's Marky Mark, and she knows that if he had been on the planes, they never would have reached the towers.
Oh my God, Paige. Gross.
Pierce Brosnan couldn't have done anything about it.
Pierce Brosnan would never.
He would never.
But she's staring a hole right through his dick. Like she is like staring him down.
I mean, this is before we knew how much of a trash person Marky Mark was.
Nah, we knew. At this point, he'd already punched that guy. He'd
already beat that guy almost to death.
Yeah.
But he hadn't made the happening yet. So, 6 of one, half dozen of another. Why is it always starting the parks?
What?
It's the wind. Why is it always in the park?
That's why, I don't know. But that's where they always find the bodies.
Yep. At this point, Gal Gadot comes down and is like, yo, are we all going to have sex? And he's like, no, go back to bed. And she is absolutely like, there is a second, or I guess tertiary plot line in this movie that she is absolutely a double agent for Mossad, and she's there to kill Marky Mark.
I would love it. Like, that would be so funny.
100%. That's definitely what's happening.
Yeah.
But turns out he's a fucking mercenary. That he's an assassin, right?
Who, Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah, but also the guy in the book I'm reading, I think.
I think he's a precog cop. Because he's got like a Minority Report setup.
He's got the Minority Report screens.
Yeah. They position him like he's like a government contractor who works in high intelligence circles. Like, I think he must be a government like funded assassin on some level or something. I think the movie that he is living in is way more like Jason Bourne.
Yes.
And the Tina Fey and like Steve Carell subplot in his movie doesn't even make the cut. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they just stumble through his safe house.
Yes. He's like laying low, banging Gal Gadot after saving, I don't know, like Russia from blowing up a nuke in Times Square or whatever. And so like they're just like taking a long weekend in a nice safe house, and then Tina Fey busts up their shit.
Yep. But he does give them, he's able to like geolocate the cell number, which is bonkers, but he does it.
And police can totally do that.
Yep.
They do it all the time.
The two cops show up at his house. He's like, I'll distract him. You guys go through the garage. They steal one of his cars to do it. He is not nearly angry enough about that later, but it's fine.
I think it's because it's not his car, Paige. It's the government's car, and he doesn't give a shit.
Not the government's car. It's the safe house car, because he definitely doesn't work for any one government. He's definitely trading secrets for money.
I mean, he might be like a double, triple agent. I don't know. We'll have to watch his movie when it comes out. Holbrook, coming this summer.
Oh my God. You know what I watched recently that I don't think qualifies for this podcast, but damn if I don't love that movie every time I see it, is Spy.
You've told me to watch it. I haven't seen it.
Bro, you will love it. It's one of my favorite Jason Statham performances, and Melissa McCarthy's great in it. It's hands down. It's a good watch any day.
Yeah.
Anyway, so as they're driving away, this is where they get into the, like, if you would just let me handle things, if I could surprise you. And like, I'm exhausted. And yeah,
Yeah, it's like a fight. Like, although they're not like yelling at each other, but like they're having sort of a relationship conversation,
Yes. And I love that they bring up, they're like, hey, they said they were fine, but they were roommates. That's not us, right? And they're like, no, it's not us. We're partners. We're connected. We're going to get through this together. And we're going to learn to try and meet each other where we are.
Yeah.
Which is what they do.
Yeah.
Here's the most unrealistic part of this movie. They are constantly able to find parking spots in New York.
Yeah. I mean,
They park that car multiple times.
and one time they park it right into a taxi.
I mean, there's that time. But this time he's like, that's the house. Great, I'll park. No, like, okay, I'll circle the block 5 times.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but they park. They get out. They have to climb the fire escape because no one is answering at the doorbell. But they break into the house. This is where she's like, oh, they stabbed a chicken nugget with a Sharpie. These are not good people.
Well, because they are at the Tripplehorn house, right? They actually found out his real name, although doesn't really matter all that much.
It doesn't matter.
But like they start fighting again in the house.
Yes.
And that's when like James Franco comes out and punches Steve Carell in the throat, which I thought was hilarious. And then it's revealed that his name is Taste.
Taste.
And I was like, fuck, I love this.
He uses Tripplehorn as an alias because he's a big Gene Tripplehorn fan, which I do think is funny.
Yeah.
But his name is Taste, and Mila Kunis's name is Whip It. And she's like, oh, like the Devo song? And she's like, no, like when you snort nitrous. And I was like, yeah, that's what's up. But they basically, what I think is very, very, very funny is that the movie uses this because James Franco and Mila Kunis get into almost identical fight.
Yeah, right in front of them.
That our main couple was just in the car.
Yes.
And it's them watching somebody else go through the same relationship problem and being like, oh, but then it devolves where it's like, well, you know, you took our, well, if you would let me plan things, but you always do the wrong thing. Like, and he's like, I get you the things. I get you the nipple clamps. Those nipple clamps hurt. Like, it's hilarious because it is the same problem, just with their unique pieces that are like nipple clamps, strip club, like all of it.
Yeah.
Stolen wheelchairs is part of it.
I so badly wanted them to make like a House Hunters reference because she is a stripper / sex worker and he is a stolen wheelchair purveyor and their home budget is $8 million. Like, and they could easily set it up because Tina Fey is a realtor.
Yes.
But they don't do that. But that's all I was thinking about in that scene when he said that. I was like, oh my God.
They want a house with a great room and a load-bearing pole so she can work from home. Anyway, he basically is like, wait, you led the guys that are after us here? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, 2-minute drill, baby. We leaving. And she's like, I just don't want to leave it. It's our home. And this is where he rips open his shirt and there's a tattoo of her face on his chest. And he's like, this is your home. And then they make out. And I had forgotten it until literally, like, I was watching this movie and then heard her say, like, I don't want to leave home. And I was like, oh no, wait, the chest tattoo, and remembered it from seeing it the one time. Because this is one of the few jokes the first time that I fucking loved and still held up today. I was like, I think
it's hilarious. Great. It is so fucking funny.
It's even funnier for me later when Steve Carell does it.
I know.
When he bangs on his chest, he's like, it's us. I was like, yeah, that's right.
It's so adorable. But she like goes in and they just start making out right in front of him. It's hilarious.
But he's like, hey, you guys take the flash drive. It's your problem now. And he's like, oh, well, I guess we'll just go give it to Mileto. And he's like, you don't even understand what's going on.
Right.
Do you? Okay, well, have fun. Bye. And then they like jump out the window and leave. So now they're like, okay, I guess this is our problem now.
And it is.
It is. We cut back to Marky Mark's house where Taraji P. Henson and Bill Burr show up and they're like, hey, do you want to put on a shirt? And he's like, no, I'm good. Besides, I already said everything to the other cops. And they're like, what other cops?
Yeah.
But
we know what other cops, Paige.
Of course.
It's Common and McPoyle.
Yeah. It would be great for a crime show. Anyway.
It honestly sounds like the James Bond song that Chris Cornell did.
Oh, yes. Very similar.
Yeah.
But they get in the car, and who should show up but Common and McPoyle, firing guns at them, shooting out the back of that car. They try to shoot using the gun they stole from Marky Mark's house, but it's like an old historical weapon.
Paige, I think all of this sort of plays into my theory, right? So like, Marky Mark is the goddess in this movie, and they meet with the goddess a few times, and the goddess gives them information. And like, this person works for the Game Incorporated or whatever that Steve Carell hired. And he's like sending them on their journey and helping them along their way. And the gun he gave them doesn't work. So they know they're not putting anyone in danger because the gun doesn't work.
Right.
I think there's a reading of this movie where like you could add one scene and just make it seem like the whole thing was Steve Carell's plan.
Right.
And I kind of would love that.
Yeah. I mean, that would be wild. I mean, that's just the game, basically. But
I know. What if we had the dating game, right? Nothing would ever be called that. So we could definitely write a movie called The Dating Game with that premise and people wouldn't get confused.
Anyway, this is where, as they drive off, they make a turn down a one-way street because Steve Carell's not paying attention, and they smash into a taxi driven by JB Smoove.
Right. And they like try and like come apart as cars and they can't.
They can't.
And I kind of love that.
Well, but also I love that McPoyle and Common are right behind them, and the time they spend trying to disengage those cars, they'd be dead. Like,
oh, yeah.
They would already have gotten there.
Well, because they're kind of like doing a tug of war back and forth as they're both trying to like reverse away from each other, and they're just not able to disconnect. And so they eventually like just start this car chase where it's those two cars connected and the cop car chasing behind them, shooting at them.
Yes.
It's an awesome chase sequence, honestly. It's great.
It is. It's great. I do think it goes on about 5 minutes too long. Because it goes on a long time.
I could have taken more, but yeah.
It's an impressive chase sequence, and they basically go backwards, forwards, you name it, until now Taraji P. Henson and her cops are following, and the bad cops are following, until they get basically disconnected with a van that hits them, disconnects the cars. Tina Fey is able to kind of fishtail and park Marky Mark's car while Steve Carell takes that taxi into the river. Now, before he does that, he is able to plug the flash drive into a Kindle.
It's JB Smoove's Kindle, yeah.
JB Smoove's Kindle.
Because he's at that point transferred over to the taxi, right? So he's there with JB Smoove. In fact, he's driving JB Smoove's taxi.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But he then finds out that basically what is on that flash drive are pictures of the DA in flagrante with a number of sex workers.
In the club we're going to see later. That seems to be his kingdom.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what's going on in that club, but it seems like bad shit.
Yes. But he then climbs out of the crash taxi. He doesn't have the Kindle. He doesn't have the flash drive. They don't have anything. But at this point, they're like, let's go. Now, here's what's wild is that the police are all there and they still manage to escape without getting caught by the police.
Right.
Not sure how that happens, but the police show up and they've got
Mixed movie.
The police show up and they've got Common and McPoyle and they're like, yeah, those Fosters, real slippery. And they're like, how do you remember their name? You weren't even assigned to this case. And this is just more fuel to the fire.
Right. And she sends them home. She's like, well, you guys have been up too much. Go to bed. Come back tomorrow. You know, like she sends them off to like stop working the case. They don't, obviously, because they're not working for the police, even though they are police.
Right.
So like they're not going to stop. But I like that in this moment, I think is when she starts clocking them as being possible like double agents, as it were.
I think she already knows because of Marky Mark's house where they know that they came there before them.
Oh, yeah, I think so too. I think that's when she learned it. But I think this is when it starts to like come through her actions by like, you should go away.
Yeah, it's official.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, on the train, Steve Carell is like, okay, here's what I saw on the flash drive. Here's what's going on. And I love that Tina Fey is like, I am not following this at all, but I'm gonna trust you to take care of it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Because this is like, and I'm not saying Steve Carell doesn't need to learn anything, but this is like the thing that he is asking her to learn, to like, just trust me.
Right.
Like when it counts, I'll come through, you know?
Right. So he then, at some point, we don't see it, off screen, contacts the police and is like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to pretend to be the Tripplehorns. We're going to go to this club. We'll get, or I guess he has Holbrook call them because they go to Marky Mark's house and are like, hi, we wrecked your car. And he does get this like whole speech of like, I know you're hot, but I'm just trying to do something nice for my wife. Please help us.
Yeah, it is really sweet. And I do love that like Steve Carell was soaked because he was in the water earlier when the taxi went into it, right? So like he changed into the only clothes they had access to, which were the clothes in the Audi, which is Marky Mark's car.
Right.
So he is sitting there in the tracksuit Marky Mark refuses to wear in this movie.
Right.
And he like delivers this like sort of sweet monologue of like, please help me. This is all I was trying to do. And it turned to shit. And like, just help me have a good night with my wife or whatever. And so he's like, okay, I'll help.
But we then cut to the plan where they're going to show up to the club and Tina Fey is going to pose as one of the girls in the club. And they're going to use that to try and get more blackmail material on the DA and on the mob boss, then turn it into the cops. So they talk their way in. She goes and changes into an outfit. And I do love that, like, she comes out in that corset and he's like, I love that. We're buying one of those.
I know.
Like
he is into his wife so much this movie, and I really love it.
Love it. But they go up to the door where the DA is and they let them both in because he's like, he likes both of you. And so they have to dance together.
When they were like starting to like dance on the stripper pole, like circular stage, and it was just like they were like badly ballroom dancing kind of, I like laughed so hard. And then when he's like, all right, you guys are going to have to leave unless it like gets sexy or whatever. And then what happens is like so funny because they start like doing what you would think of as like basic white person suburbs thinking they're sexy dancing. And just know that that is not sexy.
No.
But it is so unsexy that the DA, who is holding the broom you saw in the commercial,
yes,
literally sits up and leans forward. And you're like, oh, damn, did they just like stumble on this guy's weird kink? And at one point, like Tina Fey is just holding onto the pole, like, and Steve Carell's holding her legs and like walking around the pole. That's it. More like she's like he's a cow and she is the spoke in the wheel or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
They're churning butter. Yeah.
And so like, it's not sexy, but he like leans in and is like, where's he taking her?
Where's he taking
Like
her?
he's like into it. It's so funny. The guy who plays this guy is so good.
Hilarious. And admittedly, some of the jokes from this scene do not age well.
Yeah.
Just heads up for that.
There is that one.
There's one that is pretty transphobic. There's a couple slut-shamey ones that are not great.
Yeah.
Remember, it was 2010. It doesn't make it okay, but I would hope that all the people involved have learned and would do better now.
Yeah.
But they do attract him by dancing weird, but once he gets close, he's like, okay, how much for a night with you? And they're like, $100,000. He's like, that seems steep. And they're like, actually, we have something you want. We're the Tripplehorns. We have a flash drive. And he's like, oh, shit.
He was like, you're the Tripplehorns? There's only two of you.
There's only two of you. That's why it's a great band name.
I can't believe we found a way to bring that joke back.
Ba-da-da, ba-da-da. Who should appear but Common and McPoyle, who were like, come with us. So they all go up to the rooftop where they're probably going to try and extort the flash drive out of them. And Steve Carell is like, it's in a safe spot.
I thought they were going to try and murder the flash drive out of them.
Well, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Extort with guns.
Yes.
But they basically are like, hey, if they don't hear from us, they'll release the contents of the flash drive. And it's this guy. And Common and McPoyle met him earlier that night. So they're like, that's a real guy. Like, they're telling the truth.
Yes.
Who should show up but Ray Liotta, who's like, why is everyone on the rooftop of my club? You going to get blood all over my roof?
I love that Tina Fey's response to that was like, hey, do you mind, sir? We're like trying to do some roof stuff up here. Like you would refer to sex on a roof as roof stuff.
Roof stuff.
Very funny.
Yes. I mean, it's different than ground stuff.
I guess that's accurate, but
Yep.
yeah.
Anyway, they basically are like, yeah, too bad about the pictures. And he's like, what pictures? And Ray Liotta's like, shut up. He doesn't know about the fucking pictures. Revealing that they both the DA and Ray Liotta's character have dirt on each other.
Yeah.
And as they're fighting about it.
It's literally like the end of Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
Or like Reservoir Dogs. Like they're all pointing guns at each other.
Yes.
And Tina Fey is freaking out because her husband has not told her, hey, I called the cops and they're like literally on their way. Like I can hear them in my ear even. I don't know if he has an earpiece, but like he knows they're coming, right?
He knows they're coming because Marky Mark called them.
Yes.
Is what happened. Yeah.
So like, he's like, babe, I got this. Trust me, I got this. And
Their
that's,
home's right here.
yeah, that's when he starts beating his chest like Taste did earlier. I'm never going to call James Franco that again. He will forever be Taste to me.
Taste.
That shit's such a funny name.
Oh, it's great. It's a great like dirtbag name.
Yes, that is the name you give your like most sexually aggressive drug dealer.
Here's I as I was watching this, I kept thinking, I was like, what's a better name than Taste that's in the same vein? And the only thing I could come up with was Sniffs.
Sniffs?
Yeah, if somebody was named Sniffs.
I think Taste is more sexual than Sniffs.
Taste is more sexual sexual, but Sniffs, you're like, what's Sniffs into?
You know what Sniff's into.
I mean, cocaine, but also panties from a vending machine.
That's what Sniff's into. Yes, the cocaine lets him do it for longer hours in the day.
Yeah. Anyway, as they count to 3, a police helicopter shows up behind them, and they are immediately inundated with SWAT teams. Everyone gets arrested.
Yeah, this is like in the game when Michael Douglas jumps off the roof.
Right.
Yeah.
They confirm that the kids are all safe. Now they can finish having dinner in the city because he promised her dinner in the city, aka breakfast.
I love that, like, Taraji P. Henson is like, hey, we'll take you home because, you know, you're like involved in this crazy thing. And I'm sure the cops also want to talk to them. So, like, we're going to be back at your house at like 10 o'clock today. So, like, I want to know where it is because we definitely have to talk.
Right.
But, like, he says, you know what? I came to the city to take my wife to dinner and I want to do that. And it cuts to them eating breakfast at a diner at like sunrise. It's like kind of a sweet like moment. I loved it.
Well, and he moves to the same side of the table as her, which was a note.
She moves to the same side of the table as him.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they're talking about sweet stuff. This is the scene where I was crying. It was like really sweet. I loved it.
And in the original steakhouse earlier in the movie, they see a couple sitting on the same side and they're like, ooh, that's weird.
Yeah.
And then for them to do it is them being like, we are now that couple.
Yeah.
Which, fun note, Jake likes to sit on the same side.
I don't mind it. Yeah. Like if I've been traveling a lot, Natalie will do that sometimes and she'll sit like right next to me, which I don't mind. I like it. Yeah. It's great to be that close, you know?
Yeah. But he then reveals that he actually read the book and she's like, I don't read the books for book club. Who has time?
She reads the first 30 pages and then the last page, which I was like, man, that's funny.
And she's also like, I don't really like them, which is why I don't join most book clubs, because people want to read books like that. And I want to read books about people banging dudes that might be assassins or ghosts.
I'm convinced that most book clubs are centered around like books that you want people to know you're reading. And there needs to be more book clubs where like you probably shouldn't tell the general populace this, but like you can tell your lady friends this. You know what I'm saying?
That's the kind of book club that I want, where I'm just like, hey, bish, they start banging on page 10.
Yeah.
Like, let's get into it.
Instead of Mr. Skin, you're Mrs. Book or whatever.
Yeah, page is the word you're looking for.
Oh my God, Paige. Like how? Paige, what?
Yep.
Mrs. Page's smut collection?
Destined for books.
God.
Destined for books.
The SEO writes itself.
It does indeed. But also I'm like a book boyfriend book, like book club, which I know some people have and I just don't have time to be a part of. But if I were to be a part of a book club, it would be something like that.
Like a boyfriend cut book club?
Ooh, relaxed fit.
Yeah.
But they sit on the same side and he says, I choose you. I do it all again. I choose you every time.
Yeah.
And that's the movie.
So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what'd you think about Date Night?
I liked it so much more this time than I did the first time I saw it. And I do think it's because I am older and much closer to what the audience would be for this movie.
100%. That's exactly how I feel about it. Although I did like it at the time because like I loved Tina Fey at the time. Like I loved 30 Rock. I was a huge fan of 30 Rock. I was a huge fan of The Office. So like these are like two of my favorite TV actors in a movie together at the time.
Right.
And it's sort of like an action rom-com. I was so into it. But the themes of the movie were somewhat lost on me at the time. So like I do like it way more now.
Yeah.
But Paige, you want to hit us with some fun facts?
Yes.
Well, hit us with your fun facts.
Date night fun facts. So the dance between Steve Carell and Tina Fey at the end was improvised, but
Of course it was.
to make them feel awkward about it, the director shouted obscenities at them while behind the camera.
Oh my God. Okay, so that like makes me want to talk about one other funny bit from this movie. And that's that like Steve Carell is the worst at cussing at people.
Yes, I love it. Zip your vagina.
Yes. And it reminded me of my mom. Because my mom, like, she grew up like really religious and like really sheltered, and didn't start cussing until like later in life. Like
Sure.
I was an adult when I heard my mom use the F word the first time. And my mom just, I can't explain it, cusses wrong. Like she says the word, but it's like, it's wrong. She's doing it wrong. Like she's the only person I've ever heard say the word fucking, like fucking. Like it's so many syllables when my mom says it. It's so funny to me.
See, my mom's the opposite. She cusses right, but she never does it. So that when she occasionally does, you're like, oh, Mom said ass. And it's like, we're 30. Like, the mom is like 60. Like, I'm pretty sure she said and wiped many an ass.
It's crazy to me that you guys think ass is a cuss word.
No, but my mom never says any of it. And then every once in a while she'll say, and you're like, oh, did mom? Oh my God.
I mean, parents cuss, I guess, but it's weird when they do.
Parents be cussing. It's weird when my dad cusses all the time for fun and jokes. my mom.
I know, 'cause your dad's awesome, and that's why I'm trying to get in the fam.
my mom picks her spots. But here's the thing, though. Because she picks her spots, it's always way funnier when it happens.
It's probably way more impactful, right?
Oh, yes.
The first time I heard my mom cuss wrong, I lost my mind. So I get it. Yeah, because
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so despite the fact that Marky Mark never wears a shirt in this movie, there is a dedicated wardrobe assistant listed in the end credits.
Well, yeah, he's got pants and stuff on.
He do got pants and stuff.
And Gal Gadot's wearing his shirt. His shirt's in the movie.
That's
that
true.
lady needed that job. Someone needed to get those people half clothing.
Right? In all of Mark Wahlberg's scenes, he is shirtless. However, they're all filmed from specific angles to avoid showing a tattoo of Bob Marley that he has on his right shoulder.
Does he now?
Allegedly.
Okay, Mon.
Yep. The exterior of the Gentleman's Club at the end is the same building used for Patty's Pub in Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
No, are you serious?
Yes. Yeah, it's like the back door.
So oh my God. That then just puts this movie in that.
The McPoyles felt right at home.
Yes, that's my point. Of course the McPoyles could get in. They know even how to get through the vents in that place.
Yes.
I gotta watch It's Always Sunny again. It's so great.
It's so good. The Gentleman's Club, the Peppermint Hippo, is a play on the chain of famous Gentleman's Club,
The Spearmint Rhino. Yeah, that was, I won't say it, but there was someone we toured with who was it was their thing to go to any Spearmint Rhino in town. And that was a thing we did not participate in.
When they go to toast with empty glasses, Tina Fey asks if it's bad luck, and Steve Carell says, no, I don't think that's a thing, and he is actually right. The superstition is that if you toast with water, you'll drown. But folklore has that it's actually better to toast with empty glasses than to toast with water.
There's an easy way to remember that. If you throw toast in water, you'll electrocute yourself.
Yeah.
So don't toast with water.
Right. Make sure it's unplugged first.
Right.
Yep.
Unless you're in a Tyler Perry movie, then leave that shit plugged in because your husband's a dirtbag or whatever.
Right. Sean Levy, who directed this, also directed Night at the Museum and Night at the Museum: Battle of the Smithsonian. So it's his third consecutive film to have the word night in the title.
You didn't know this is a part of the Sean Levy Night trilogy, but he's done a bunch of great movies. He was involved in Deadpool versus Wolverine, Free Guy, Arrival. He's done a bunch of great stuff.
Yeah. I'll end on this last one because I noticed it in the movie and it made me laugh. When he pulls out the gun, Taste asks Steve Carell not to go all Raymond Burr on him. He's confusing actor Raymond Burr with Aaron Burr, who was the third vice president of the United States, most famous for killing Alexander Hamilton in a duel in 1804. This reference would be lost on most people who are not familiar with U.S. political history and not familiar with Perry Mason and Ironside, which Raymond Burr was in. And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts page. Let's talk a little bit about box office. So what do you think the production budget was for Date Night in 2010?
Date Night. There's a lot of famous people in this, and a lot of it is filmed on location in New York. I'm going to say this cost at least $50 million.
Oh, Paige, it was 55. You're so close. $55 million. Yeah. Great guess. Great guess. If you adjust for inflation, that's $80.4 million today. So it's not an insignificant budget. Now, the movie did come out on April 9th, which is pretty close to when we're recording this, right? Because it's April 2nd right now.
This is the second or third time we've done this in the last couple weeks,
right?
So we have nailed something on its anniversary.
Yeah, someone it was Slither. It was our horror version episode on Slither, and someone was like, "Hey, look at this coincidence!" when they shared that the movie had come out 20 years or 19 years before or whatever, and I was
total coincidence. We did not know that.
It was a coincidence. You were correct to say that. Yeah. Sorry about that, but yeah, it's a coincidence. Anyway, so this movie came out April 9th, 2010, Paige. It was second in the box office that weekend. It was beat by Clash of the Titans Number 2 was obviously Date Night. Number 3 was How to Train Your Dragon. Number 4 was Why Did I Get Married 2, which is a movie we've also done.
Correct.
And number 5 was The Last Song. Paige, number 6, Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yes.
What do you think it made in its opening weekend, Paige?
Ooh, in its opening weekend, I think this probably made at least 19 million.
Yeah, it did make at least that and exceeded it because it went up to $25.2 million in its opening weekend, which isn't quite its budget back. In fact, it's not even half its budget back. But this movie had quite a bit of stay power. So it was second in its first week. In its second week, it was at third, and it remained at third for 3 total weeks. So in its first month, it was never not in the top 3. In the 5th week, it dropped to 4th, and then it dropped to 7th, and then 7th, and then 8th. But in its first 2 months of release, it was in the top 10, which is great. It was in theaters for a total of 22 weeks, though, Paige. So let me ask this question. What do you think it made domestically at the box office?
Ooh, domestically, I'm going to say this probably made about 80 million.
Yeah, it made 98.7 million. So it did really well at the domestic box office. Not quite 100 million, but it did bring in 53.5 million internationally, so it puts the total box office worldwide up at $152.2 million, which is way over the budget of 55, right? I mean, if you adjust just that box office for inflation, it's $222.8 million. So,
yes,
it made money. This movie definitely was great for the studio. They loved this movie, I'm sure. But Paige, that's your box office. Do you want to hit us with the romance scale?
Our romance scale is a scale of 1 to 4 of how romantic we found the movie today, and it's 4 because Mikey said so. Todd, how romantic was this movie?
I'm going to give it a 2. There's not a lot of heavy romance in it, but I do love that it's they do work out some communication issues and come together as a team, and they do sort of I do think they're going to passionately destroy each other's genitals when they get home, and hopefully once they get inside, but it seems like it's starting on the front lawn. So there is some romance and there is some chemistry. It's not really focusing on that part of their relationship, but I still got to give it a 2,
Yeah. I think I'd give it a 2 as well, just nothing on the roar scale.
Yeah, I agree completely. Because it's not about that necessarily. Although I do think they're about to destroy each other's insides. But
at least throw their back out. And that's our romance scale.
Yeah, so this week, Paige, you made us watch Date Night. What are we watching next week?
This next one is one that I will spoil for you, did not do well in theaters.
I love those.
I have seen it. It has some problems, but I think we're going to have a lot of fun talking about it. And that is The Spy Who Dumped Me.
I've never seen this movie. I honestly don't know anything about it, but I can't wait to find out more about it. Oh, it's, wow. Okay. Sorry, I just looked it up. It came out in 2018. It's Mila Kunis, who was in this movie, and Kate McKinnon from SNL.
Right.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Best friends Audrey and Morgan unwittingly become entangled in an international conspiracy when one of them discovers that their boyfriend who dumped them was actually a spy.
Yep.
This is going to be awesome. All right. Well, guys, that's your homework for next week. Check out the movie The Spy Who Dumped Me and then report back for that episode.
Hey, do you have any reviews for us, Todd?
So this week, I'm going to read a comment from one of our most recent Spotify episodes, and that's going to be the Simone episode. And this one comes in from Kim, who says, and this is in quotes, I think one of us said this in the episode, maybe, Paige. A guy who can't have good relationships with women who decided to just create one and it gets bigger than him, so he kills it. And that's the end of the quote.
That's you. You said that, by the way.
I mean, that does perfectly summarize that movie. But then Kim goes on to say, that can also describe Tootsie, which I, believe it or not, haven't seen.
Oh my God, you haven't seen Tootsie? But yes, they are right.
Which is a shock, right?
That is a shock.
I should have seen Tootsie. Yeah. But I haven't. But Kim, thank you so much for that Spotify comment. And if you want to have me read your Spotify comment or 5-star Apple review, leave us one of those things and I'll do just that. So yeah, if you guys like this show and want to hear our other show where we talk about horror movies, that is The Horror Virgin. That's the only other podcast I am on, but Paige is also on Cult Podcast, which you can find at Cult Podcast. And you can find us on social media. I am at Todd J. Awesome, literally everywhere. Paige is at Paige Wesley on Instagram.
No, it's at Rampage Wesley on Instagram and TikTok, at Paige Wesley on Twitter.
That's right. All right. So that's where you can find Paige. If you want to find the show, we are at Romancing the Pod Show, right?
Yep, Romancing Pod Show on Twitter.
Well, and Instagram, right?
And Instagram, but it's show SHO because character limits. If you start typing Romancing the Pod, it'll come up.
It'll definitely come up on Instagram. I don't know about Twitter because I haven't posted on Twitter in a hot ass minute. So who knows? But that is where you can find more of us. So yeah, guys, give us a follow. Support the show any way you can. We'd love it.
Smash that like button.
Hell yeah.
And that's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm Todd.
And you complete us.
To completion. Bye. We'll see you next week, nerds.